All right, welcome to today's show. We got a good one lined up here. We are getting ready to go down to the American Legion to just do a little post event, talk to some people. It's going to be just, planning on next year a little bit, starting early. We just want to get out the good vibes. We got Scott here in the studio. He'll be going down to the Legion as well. We're just going to jump right on in here. What's up, brother?
Well, I was starting to enjoy my day until the 1 hour drive over here. Pretty stoked to go down and find out. Don't really care about financial numbers, but kind of excited to get some of the feedback from the Legionnaires and what they thought. Heard it Friday and heard it Saturday from a handful of them, but as a collective whole, I'm pretty excited to find out exactly what their what grade they're going to give us. I'm thinking somewhere in the high B+ to A- range.
And they've never done nothing down there, folks, on Fridays. So we brought Friday. When we were down there, when I was on the boards and stuff, digging through the manuals, I probably have one around here. They tell you to start, if you can, it's really great for posts around the country to start something, start your own thing annually. And they do. They have lots of annual things, just like the Legions you're part of, and you're part of this one too. But just all the Legions we've been part of together, independently, whatever. That's what their main goal is, to try to get grassroots events.
Sure.
That can just take off, and that's what we're doing here. And what better way? Patriots Fest, once a year, a way for anybody to join. It's open. It's always going to be open to the public. It's always going to probably be, as long as we can, a free event. Unless the venue site has to be somewhere, and then we need to have funds. But what do you think the requirement is to be, to come on down, to be part of a Patriots Fest? What would you say some of the core values should be of somebody coming? Simple, just promote freedom, maybe, and if you like liberty and
liberty, justice, pursuit of happiness,
kind of agree with the Constitution a little bit. We were handing them out there.
None of those things can waver. Those have to be pretty strong and solid in your core values, and if not, it's probably not a good place for you.
Yeah,
party affiliation doesn't matter.
Yeah, no,
at all.
You can come, and we're not going to be ones to JT Wild, had a bad experience. I don't mean to bring it up, but I had people, I don't know if it was too loud or if it was a message coming out of his music. He had an incident where you're not going to have that here. You didn't get unplugged. Yeah. You're not going to get, if you truly do support somebody. We tried to say this weekend, we all work hard all year, doing the research. This is a time to come together and just be patriots, and we're trying to keep the political down. I think next year, you still have a right to fight for what you want, what you think's, equal. So lots of conversations going on. You probably will find a little bit more like-minded people on at least Friday night, our night down there. But it's going to be, again, 2 days. We're going to push harder for more solid music throughout, and keeping the original guy up the whole time, stuff like that, right?
Sure.
Lots of Patriots in the room today. We got about, I get it, it's a weird time. We got about 60 of you, I think I'm seeing here.
You want to jump into some stuff?
Yeah, go get right in.
I got a list. Like I said, it was an hour drive.
I did yesterday. I covered this, what you sent me. I didn't say it because we were waiting to go live.
Okay.
Just a little bit, scammed over it. I said, let's
zero tolerance.
Let's make them have a bad year and divert our tire buy-in somewhere else. So
yeah, well then I'll avoid that one.
No, I didn't get into it in depth. So let's do it again. We probably got new people in, so go ahead and read a little bit of that.
Goodyear had a company corporate policy that just came through, and they sat their employees down, and basically what it was is they're trying to send a message to their employees that they're basically pushing their political views onto their employees. So I would love to hear from some employees that disagree with what they've done, but they have this new zero tolerance. And what's acceptable in this zero tolerance is Black Lives Matter and LGBT buttons, hats, T-shirts, things like that. Wow, we're getting way up close and personal now. Did I trim? So the things that are unacceptable: Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, and MAGA apparel. And I'm thinking, why would they do this?
Yeah.
As if you own a business, again, we've had these conversations before. Don't ostracize half your crowd. And I gotta imagine Goodyear Tire wasn't expecting, or they should have expected. Anytime you make this political decision to join or to support one group or the other, you're gonna get some backlash. Their stocks dropped 4% early on. And I just checked, and they've rebounded half of what they've lost, but they're down anyway. Their shares are down. Not surprising. So I'm going to speak with my dollar like I always do. No Goodyears. I'm not going to buy a Goodyear. I'll stick with, I don't know, Michelin, Continental, whatever. Lots of choices out there. I don't have to buy a tire that is all in for support of protesting and looting and burning and, you know, LGBT is right, wrong, or indifferent. I know what my values are. I'm not going to judge anybody for their values, but I don't have a place in my core values to care more about LGBT and BLM than I do all lives, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to be a part of this game of labels.
Well, and I did a video on that really stems, like, it's the lack of what you're saying. People are like, we're not saying white lives don't matter. And it's like, well, it's the lack of what you're saying, and that's what hits people, like, first. So I said it before, you know, to God, I think he made all lives, so therefore, you know, all lives matter. Satan didn't make any, so therefore all lives don't matter. It's very simple. Logic tells you. But without getting on that, I wanted to bring up what you're talking about. I'm going to jump over to this screen just to give a little. So the Goodyear employee is the one that brought all that out. A Goodyear employee in Kansas is calling the company's new zero tolerance policy discriminatory after the company told workers that it is acceptable to wear a tire supporting certain social and certain political causes like Black Lives Matter, while labeling others like MAGA and Blue Lives Matter as unacceptable. I mean, what the hell?
You can't make this stuff up. You just can't make this. Maybe the shareholders probably weren't polled or called. Hey, what do you guys think? You know, I bet a lot of shareholders went, "What the f?"
Well, this is like down in Richmond that we experienced a hat. You know, either hats are unacceptable or acceptable, not what's on them.
Correct.
Now I can
Freedom of speech.
So, folks, I mean, there you go.
They're limiting their employees' freedom of speech. What do you think? What's going to happen when all them employees decide, you know, we're going to do our own protest and walk out? I hope they're financially stable enough to where 1,000 employees could walk out.
So just right there, it's almost like that's personal for sure. MAGA, like they don't want you wearing MAGA. That's against policy, but BLM's okay. And then it's like, well, okay, Blue Lives Matter, which is like saying for maybe your significant other's a cop. But, you know, if you're got a dog in the race, but even if not, you just support cops. They're telling you, no, that's unacceptable here. They got two categories, acceptable and unacceptable.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Now, if you're a police officer or affiliated with a police officer, you suppose your family's buying tires at Goodyear now? What if they were? What if, I mean...
I want to say the military had a government contract when I was at AM, working to build the Humvees, AM General. There was...
What rubber are they putting on there? Yeah.
It was Goodyear, but, does that affect them? Unbelievable, folks. What do you guys think? All lives matter, not fair.
Not fair. Well, welcome to
the real world.
Yeah. So if and when, I keep saying the word if because I'm going to try to be, I don't know, open-minded, but when Trump wins again, I'd like to see him force the military's purchasing power decision-making to not include the purchase of Goodyear tires.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not good enough.
That's why I said we Patriots. I saw the power this weekend, but we have let's not support Goodyear and let's make them have a bad year. That's all.
There's plenty of and one guy. Well, they're American made. There's other tires that are American made. Hoosier Racing Tire is made right in my hometown.
It's local,
and they're owned by Continental. So Continental's a good brand. Support Continental. Like, I don't know where our lawyerisms lie. It is freedom of speech, so I'm not going to stand here and blast anybody. I'm just going to say I disagree that that you're okaying the apparel wearing of one or two groups, but not all groups. I mean, it's like if you're going to bring cookies for the class, you got to bring enough for all of them.
I think it's really bad. I think that's beyond. Stupid. Like you said, like we've dealt with. That's a dumb policy. That is almost like.
insane.
I don't like the BLM thing. So what about, well, deal with it, is what they're going to tell you.
Right, right. And so we're supposed to have tolerance, right?
Be tolerant,
Whatever
Scott.
happened to the liberal party of tolerance? It was the party of love and tolerance and blah, blah, blah. Freedom to do whatever it is you want to do. So I thought I'd bring that up.
I think that mayor talked about Portland's supposed to mean a summer of love.
Yeah.
But all this is not a summer of love.
He's changing his tune. I did see him late last night where he's finally calling his people out. He did a live TV interview, and he was basically saying, no more, this is not working. You can't destroy the community. You can't commit these crimes. I'm all for peaceful protest. He might be one of those mayors and one from the other side that is starting to call these what they actually are. You can't call them protests when you're kicking people in the skull and burning buildings and, you know what I mean, and throwing fireworks into crowds and raping and murder. That is not protest. Martin Luther King would just roll over. Well, it probably is rolling over in his grave. The March in Selma, and you know, some of the things they did in the past. You watch some of these great leaders now that are saying, this isn't what we marched for in the 60s. This isn't how we marched.
No.
We marched peacefully. We did sit-ins. That sort of thing. You're not going to get anywhere by burning and raping and plundering. All you're going to do is get negative publicity, and it's not helping your cause by any means. So I really challenge anybody who says, well, you don't understand, Scott. Black Lives Matter. You know, I'm like,
I saw at our fest, somebody had a little sign outside their tent, BLM. It was Bikers Lives Matter.
Yeah, yeah. Belt loops matter. Pull up your effing pants.
Yeah. There you go. See that?
I'm offended by seeing your underbritches. So
that's crazy.
The other one I wanted to get your opinion on, I had wrote this down yesterday night. So Kleinsmith, right? He goes to jail. I know you've been talking and covered a little bit about that. I have not seen it on TV.
Oh no, you won't. They're. I just re-released a video today while I was finishing up on one. I said, hey, let me get this out. It's 8 months old, but I figured it's really relevant because it's all about Kleinsmith. Tells you his whole role. He was they try to say, well, a low-level lawyer. No, I don't think you're a low-level lawyer when you actually present stuff to people above you, and then you guys are putting stuff to the FISAs. He was right in the mix of things. But they early on, a year ago when it came out, because this all came out a year ago. But yeah, Kevin Kleinsmith, mid-level lawyer. It's like, and I can run this down for you real quick so everyone understands, so we're all on the same playing field here as we discuss this. But in a nutshell, you had Carter Page, 20-year military Navy. Graduate of the cadet school or whatever. So 20 years intelligence, gets out. He's working for the CIA as a mole or whatever, and it's against Russians. So at this point, he's getting into energy. He's retired from the Navy intel, had done several jobs with the CIA as an informant, and he goes to an energy thing. Nothing to do with the CIA, just to do with his own personal life. He's getting into the energy game, and he's at a thing up in New York. Russians approach him, so he gets a hold of the CIA and says, hey, I had these Russians get a hold of me, and they're like, welcome back to work. So he's doing a good job for our country to see what these Russians oligarchs are doing in our country. And the way they confronted him and the things that were saying rang some bells with somebody that would be in this kind of line of work. So he gets a hold of the CIA. They say, welcome back. He goes undercover, working again, meeting with these oligarchs time and time again. Well, in these other intelligence agencies that we have, the FBI, are looking at these oligarchs, been tracking them, and along comes Carter Page in the mix. Not knowing that Carter Page is working for another intel agency, because you wouldn't if your stuff's clandestine, you don't just broadcast it. So they had no idea. They just thought this American was a seedy American, possibly. That's their angle. Then he joins the Trump campaign. Carter Page is an advisory helper. So, and then when it comes out that they're digging and trying to get the FISA warrants, they reach out over to the CIA with an email, this Kleinsmith, and he's like, does this Carter Page work for you guys? We see him doing a lot of stuff with the Russians. And the CIA writes back, literally, I remember this, they're like, we highly suggest you look into your own court case from 2012 where you took the Russians to court and it came out that Carter Page did work for us. But we'll tell you again, yes. And then you can only imagine him being like, oh, That destroys their whole narrative.
Correct.
So he writes an amendment at the bottom and it takes stuff out and adds things to look like it came from the CIA. Like literally, he manipulated the email to forward it ahead to the guy. So I don't know if he was a keystone or a gatekeeper. You could say the person, this is what we talked about, Scott, like, oh, so everybody is evil? And it's like, no, just key people here and there.
Correct.
You know, if you give me really good evidence on somebody like Hillary and there's somebody above me that I have to turn this to that would do the right thing, you're doing the right thing, the guy above me is doing the right thing, but I'm the guy that can get, and I can make something disappear, and then he never gets word of this, you can only sit there and then maybe go around me, eventually go to him.
Got lost in translation.
Yeah, you see how it works. So
and then the deniability from the top was, well, we never got that. You know, because it went through 14 departments. It never really reached my desk. That's always the one that people like Hillary would go back on and just, well, I never seen it.
Or why does Epstein not truly go down in '08 under Obama? Like, why did he survive under Clinton, under Bush, and then under Obama? It was like, with all their covering, and you know, it's not really Obama sitting there keeping an eye on Epstein, like making sure he doesn't get in trouble, make sure he doesn't fall down. But if it does happen, there's pull. Why would Epstein get to leave jail every day of the week for
12 hours?
Yeah.
12 hours a day. You or I get caught doing anything.
16 months, you know, at the most. And you got out on good behavior. You know, there was like nobody there to mess with. There's no kids in the jail.
Totally incredible. I don't know.
So
they're definitely just drawing lines in the sand. You know, the liberal TV could have ran with this. I think CBS, don't quote me, but I think it was CBS that did 17 seconds on Kleinsmith, but it wasn't very long.
Yeah. And again, it's
well, we're kind of on that topic. Did anybody out there watch any of the DNC convention last night? My favorite part was Wild Bill up on stage talking about character of
Wild Bill Hickok
of the President of the United States. If we're talking about character, Trump doesn't have any character, and I'm thinking, oh my God, is this the best they got? They're going to put this guy on stage and try to tell the American people, vote for Biden because he's a man of character, and the President of the United States has to have good character and good judgment, and the guy in office now, and this is all coming from the man that, listen, his policies were okay. He was more of a moderate Democrat than anything else. As a president with policies, he did okay. He had good numbers, approval rating from both sides. American people tend to like him. The country was in a good place at the moment, and a lot of that might have been because of Reaganomics. However, when you talk about character and judgment, when you're getting your groove on in the White House and trying to cover it up and then lying under oath and being impeached, and you're going to hear people say, well, Trump was impeached too. To be impeached is nothing more than to be on trial. Trump was innocent, and Clinton was guilty, right?
Yeah,
Lied under oath and got caught. But I just found it funny that the DNC convention thought that the right people to start the convention off was Clinton, Michelle Obama's pre-taped crap from weeks ago, and you could tell it was pre-taped because she made no mention of the vice president nominee because it was pre-taped. She could not have known who the vice president nominee was or whatever, but her logic was broken. And then they brought up Mr. John Kerry, and he just had he was so enlightening. As he was trying to convince the American viewers that Trump is an embarrassment around the world, blah, blah, blah. And I find it funny that if you go back to when Obama flew into China, they didn't have a red carpet out there. They didn't even bring the stairs out for him.
No.
He literally had to jump out the cargo door, But when Trump has been landing in all of these countries, it's a little bit different. They're rolling out carpets. They're having, big celebrations. The bands, the militaries are showing up. This doesn't strike me as a guy that is in a bad position or has a bad rapport with our world leaders. So, DNC, I hope you do a little bit better tonight, although Kamala, and you got to make sure you pronounce that right, or CNN will lose their mind. They jumped all over a couple of people for pronouncing it wrong. Made it all about race. It's not Kamala. What is that, just a racist? What do you pronouncing somebody's name wrong? Shit, half you guys do it all the time. Remember, Brian Williams used to do stuff like that all the time. Trust me, I was there in a Apache helicopter, where there I was in the eye of the storm. So I just thought it was entertaining at the least. I didn't watch very much of it, but the parts I did watch, I'm thinking, this is in the bag. But I don't want to get overconfident, but it should definitely be in the bag. So I was just curious if any of our viewers got anything to say. Oh, some Q.
Well, no, 17 of August, we had one finally, remember?
Yeah.
We were at the event, but look at that. Placeholder, dash indictments, tracking, non-civ, set 1, Kevin Kleinsmith, KC, 11.3. 11.3. Then one.
November 3rd.
Now, I was talking to Scott. I just wanted to show him. This is something we can talk about for a minute. Well, let me just do this. I'll go all the way down.
I do know, and somebody just said Biden. Brandy Lay said Biden did it recently too, and what she's referring to is him misinterpreting his vice president's name, Kamala.
So here's one, 55, November 2nd of 2017, 2:44 p.m. Look to Twitter, exactly this. In parentheses, my fellow Americans, a storm is upon us. God bless. 3-year delta, possibly. He wouldn't say that. I say, well, he did on TV say, you know what this is?
This is the storm.
You'll find out. Dear Patriot, we hear you. I just wanted to show, I think it was paint the picture. You can paint the picture based solely on the questions asked.
Turning it up.
These crumbs are not meant to scare anyone, but merely inform. Resistance will be dealt with swiftly. The core focus is removing entrenched and fortified bad actors within our federal government, past and present, as well as others. Simply be diligent. Phone numbers will be provided if you witness an uprising or other domestic violence, in addition to 911. Any military scene is for your protection, as well as to demonstrate our resolve. Watch for confirmations.
That's pretty much what's about to happen. You talked about this with me on the phone a little bit. They've already prepped and had the military.
So read 35 for us, Scott, and we'll you don't have, just kind of we'll go through this.
POTUS will be well insulated / protected on Air Force One and abroad, specific locations classified. Well, these operations are conducted due to the nature of the entrenchment. It is time to take back our country and make America great again. Let us salute and pray for the brave men and women in uniform who will undertake this assignment to bring forth peace, unity, and return power to the people. It is our hope that this message reaches enough people to make a meaningful impact. We cannot yet telegraph this message through normal methods for reasons I'm sure everyone here can understand. Follow the questions from the previous thread/threads, or parentheses, plural, and remain calm. The primary targets are within D.C. and remain at the top on both sides. The spillover in the streets will be quickly shut down. Look for more false flags. Stay alert, be vigilant, and above all, please pray. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. Love is patient, love is kind. God bless my fellow Americans. 4/10/20.
Which is DJT, Donald J. Trump.
Trump.
So the one before that, Q Clarence Patriot, I'll read this one. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. On POTUS order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur on 11/3. Upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable on 11/4, confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not openly be accepted. Public riots are being organized. Do you guys believe us now? Because you see them. In serious numbers, an effort to prevent the arrest and capture of more senior public officials. On POTUS order, a state of temporary military control will be actioned and special ops carried out. False leaks have been made to retain several within the confines of the country in the United States to prevent extradition. Places like, I don't know, where'd Hanks just go? and special operator necessity. Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, and child of this country is being exhausted in full. However, the atmosphere within this country will unfortunately be divided, as so many have fallen for the corrupt and evil narrative that has been long broadcast. We will be initiating the EMS system, the emergency broadcast, during this time in an effort to provide a direct message, avoiding the fake news to all citizens, organizations, and or people who wish to do us harm. During this time, we'll be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad. What do you take that to be?
Oh, well, I think
Does it seem logical? I mean, I know we talked about this and we've read that one. Now we're back full circle a couple years later, but now, just with the atmosphere of the country.
Well, I think they're smart enough to understand that the left, or let's not even say the left. I'm not talking about all left. You know, the moderates are moderates. People towards the middle we're all right with. But I think that Trump and his people, like you and I and most of our followers, listeners, members, whatever you want to call them, are smart enough to understand these people were not going to go away quietly for a lot of reasons. The biggest reason is they still have a lot of power. They still control the media and the narrative. So anytime you can control the media, you're doing just fine. You can fight. You know, it's almost like, okay, you're outnumbered. We're outnumbering. Let's just use like a civil war, for instance. We outnumber our opponent. We know this. But they own the media, right? So
isn't that funny? Do you get it more than ever now doing the show? Our years of all of our great research. You do great research, Scott. So people are like, "Well, I'm waiting for it to come on the news." Well,
it's not going to be.
If you owned all the local news around here, and any bad dirt was going to come out on you, would you let it air?
Correct.
This is why they do it.
This
right?
is why they don't call them. This is why they're calling them peaceful protests. You can tune in any given evening and watch 4 to 6 channels that repeatedly argue and say these are just peaceful protests. Trump is initiating he's acting like a tyrant, bringing in military. He has not brought the military in. He's appointed a few federal agents to go protect federal courthouses.
And that's what.
But he has yet to bring the military in, because they're going to know when that happens.
Oh yeah,
right. But they continue to tell, and I talk with these people, and I cannot believe that you just stare at one channel, or okay, I read it in this Tribune or that whatever, and Trump is he's a jerk, he's a tyrant, he's bringing the military in, and CNN is correct. Open your eyes when you see a building on fire or a 5-year-old kid get killed of any color, and they're dying by the dozens too. They don't talk about it. People being beaten in the streets, semi-drivers, truck drivers being pulled out of their cars, masked.
They don't highlight, like they only highlight when the guy doesn't stop and runs a couple over, like, oh man, this person. They try to demonize the person that.
Correct.
But then when the stories happen where the people do stop, they get drug out, beat,
nothing to see here, move on.
They don't even report on it.
That was fake news.
Yep.
That was fake news.
That's
what's so fake about it. There are independent contractors.
It's almost like they're reading the script, and even if on the TVs, like people like breaking windows and bashing bats and beating people over the head, they're like, oh look, that's peaceful, because that's no matter what, they're going to say that.
Let me ask you. Let me entertain this thought. When I tuned in last night, I was watching where the guy got beaten. The truck driver got beaten.
Stepped on his neck and stuff.
Kicked him in the side of the head, then punched him. Did you see, if you went back and watched that, just like other protests, there'll be men or women, whatever, wearing press outfits, right? And they got their big battery packs and their cameras and they're recording. You're telling me these protesters, especially the racist, bigot ones that are beating white people in the street because they're not black or because they're resisting BLM, that reporter last night was clearly white, and there's been a lot of white reporters wandering around in these protests. How's come they're not getting beat? They're all on the same page, man. They have been. I'm assuming they've been given orders. Leave the press alone. We need this to get out. We need this to get out. Somebody explain to me why 100% of the time cameramen and people with the microphone are not getting beat, but everybody else is. Everybody in front of them are getting beaten. But the guy with the word press on his back, the press being owned by, now, if InfoWars or you or I went down there, they'd beat our asses. They would.
Oh, yeah.
They would.
Oh,
But
yeah.
tell me why why the press isn't getting mugged and beaten? Their cameras are worth $20,000-$30,000. Why are these guys magically walking around not having their asses kicked? I mean, you really have to break that down and think. Whoa. Because it's all orchestrated. Box trucks don't show up with ball bats
bullshit.
and 2x4 by chance. The press isn't walking around by chance.
Bricks and alleyways, perfectly stacked up, delivered days before an event. Water bottles that the label has, like, in case of pepper spray and I mean, that's like, damn, these protests are sponsored and funded.
Where did all the fireworks go?
Hey, we're going to be holding a crazy, riot / pillaging. You want to support it? And it's like, yeah, we'll get some water bottles. How many you need? A couple thousand. And they're taking the time to put the label on them.
Well, and the reason I brought that up, because I'm going to spin this now, because you just said, it's amazing that the media, right, the press guys, the actual press camera crews are always there when it's a peaceful protest. But they never seem to catch most of the video. I would say a very, very high number, high 90s% of the video showing people getting beaten, drug out of their vehicles. Yeah. Never by the press, always by independent contractors or just regular civilians.
You or me.
It's weird that
the phone out.
I bet the guy wearing the press suit was like, hey, you dumbasses, put your phones away.
Somebody said, like, these people that are part of it, a lot of them are embedded CIA. We know that, like,
sure.
Chris Anderson Coopy or Andy Cooper, Andy Pooper, that somebody was sitting in a restaurant and there was something going on in the town. Nothing had happened, Joe. It was early on, like at 9 a.m. Certain things that ended up happening there didn't go off till like noon. But when the CNN showed up and started putting on all the like, bulletproof vest and bomb outfits, and they're like, "What the hell?" And somebody had witnessed that, and it was like the guy almost like knew what was going to happen, forgot to not, go get dressed minutes before, maybe. Like out of
they always know where to be at the right time, and it's kind of conspicuous.
It's like you see a guy just sitting there on the side of the road holding his phone out, and a couple people walk by, like, what are you pointing at there, sir? And he's like,
I know something's
all
about
of a sudden,
boom. Strangest thing, I'm always in the right place at the right time. It's the Brian Williams effect.
Yeah, I was there, man.
Yeah, there I was tugging the hurricane on shore. Boy, that guy's correct.
I lassoed the moon and pulled it in a little closer for some better lighting as I tilted the Earth's axis, so I tweaked
He
it.
learned well, though. He was part of Hillary's group where, she's running off the tarmac under fire.
Yeah.
The actual video shows her walking slowly, telling little girls are walking up, giving her flowers, get the F out of my way. I'm Hillary Clinton, get out of my way. She makes it sound like she was dodging mortar fire. And clearly, Bill, there was lying Bill again. This was when she was running, and I like to go back and beat up on her a little bit because, Hillary, if you're listening, you are old, and you are ugly, and you are horrible. But there's Bill going, well, she probably mistaken. When you run for politics, you're up all day and up all night, and sometimes you forget things. Bill, you're still trying to cover up your own lies. So you can go back and say, well, that particular day when I lied under oath was a very long 27-hour day.
Yeah.
And I was stressed, and that's why I lied about my semen on that blue shirt or blue dress.
And that's all we try to bring here.
It was a red dress, damn it. It was a red dress.
He was coming out on TV. I did not have sexual relation. He blames. I watched this 4-hour deposition back in the 90s. It's really boring, but it's like he put out a statement. He's like, I have a statement here that my lawyer, did I say that, lawyers? I'm at myself. I just wrote it up this morning. No, you've been working on it, but he read that, and that was like his legal statement, stance, lawyered up type things. 7-panel lawyer got it together for him, and he read it. And then anytime throughout that, when they asked him, he said, I refer back to my opening statement. But the point of that is isn't it funny? It's all we try to bring here is the truth for you guys to see it. And whatever lies with you, typically what hits you when you look at this information the first way you feel is going to be correctly. You don't like, oh my God. Well, talk to Bill. He'll tell you what he meant. And then, well, I don't know what I meant. And you're, oh, I feel a lot better about the whole situation now that you lied to me. That's what it is, because he lied to the American people. I didn't do it. I didn't have sexual relation. He blamed that deposition on not asking him the right questions. Like, did you have sexual relation? Well, I take sexual relation to mean like, like I'm with her a lot, and I don't whatever he determined that to be. Because
did you say date or dates?
Yes.
Because I remember one time.
What is your definition of the?
That was the one time I didn't have my condom, and I couldn't resist because I'm Bill effing Clinton. So by the way, Woodman, shout out to you, man. I just seen you. Go get him, Scotty. Airborne, brother.
I saw Silverwolf. Yes, he slept. He got so Patriot drunk, and then when you get Patriot drunk, or I don't know, whatever. I don't know if he was drinking, but he'll end up waking up with a tank on his head. So yeah. Because he slept by the
Cat
tank.
Mac Patriot Act was started in 2001 by Bush, not Biden. I don't mean to call you out, but dig a little bit deeper, and you're going to find that Joe Biden in 1997 started proposing the Patriot Act, but it was not called the Patriot Act, but it became the Patriot Act after
9/11.
The 9/11. But if you do some more digging, again, I'm not trying to call you out here. A lot of what is inside of the Patriot Act was first talked about and sponsored by Joe Biden.
It's like NAFTA was Bush, but Clinton signed it.
Correct.
Right? I mean,
that's right.
And we know that these people are all kind of working the same anyway.
This is why I love Trump, see? He's not tied to any political crap that's been done in the past. Anything he's doing now, he's doing on his own. He's upsetting people from both sides. And by the way, Colin Powell, if you're listening, you're a son of a bitch. What a son of a bitch. He is a warmongering son of a bitch.
Yeah, he is.
He's
a pimp of war.
He totally turned his back on the President of the United States. Why? What's he got to hide, man?
Mm-hmm.
He's got to side with the Bushes and Obama and Clinton and Hillary and Kerry and McCain. I thought he was a good military man. I would like to hear from somebody that knows him personally and maybe has a reason why he's staying with them. They had to have went to him and say, man, with all this warmongering you did over there, we were a part of it. We know you did it. I think you're going to go ahead and support Joe Biden. Why in the F would anybody from the military support Joe Biden? Why? Yeah. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote for China and molesting and pedophilia, in my opinion. And the man can't even talk. Well, thank you, Utah. You're in Vermont.
I think all of that.
I'm getting warm now.
I think when well, it's a good point. How about Comey not wanting to interview or talk with Julian Assange back then when he's like, I'm willing to talk with you, sit down, give you who I got the leak from, the DNC leak, and really go that route and get the truth out. And they're like, no, because they already had their narrative of it was hacked by Russia, right. And then Russia gave it to him, and then he, in coordination with Russia, released it to help the Trump administration.
And I don't want to be in a position to have to lie if you tell me the truth. Either A, I'm going to have to lie under oath, or they're going to kill me because I know too much, although Comey already knew. How does a guy that stupid become the head of the FBI?
Yeah. Well, you don't have to have any true police work. Yeah, it's appointed. So he was like the head of Hershey or something.
Look at the cross-dressing Hoover, Hoover's FBI. What a weirdo he was. I put Comey right up there, man. But, boy, he's making his money off that book. And anybody, why would anybody buy that book? I don't even...
a higher disloyalty?
It's not even worth me reading it to say, caught you in a lie. Or, I'm not going to read any bit of it. I wouldn't read... Chicken scratch from Hillary. You couldn't pay me. There's nothing she's evil. He's evil. But it really has been bugging me. And you're a military guy, and a lot of our listeners are military guys. I come from a family of military guys, and nobody can tell me other than, man, they must have dirt on them, why Colin Powell switched sides. It makes zero sense to me.
The Bushes did. Last cycle, we're voting for Hillary. They voted for Hillary, not, and it's like, wow, what is Trump bickering about? You don't like the border thing, the human trafficking? Yeah, it's kind of clear. It's kind of real clear. And these are lifelong people that oppose these other people. But all of a sudden, jumping on everything that was opposite. Like, there was more differences clearly between like a Bush and a Clinton than there was a Bush and a Trump. But yet the Bushes said they were going to vote for Hillary. What was like? What? How could you even side up with all of the differences there?
Reagan's rolling over in his freaking grave too, man. Like, not just appointing.
It takes me back to the time when the 9/11. This is just a side note. Like when the one girl, she was doing some college project. She had a camcorder tripod set up in her window, looking out. And I don't know if it was after the first one hit. I think the first one hit. They set it up, and they're sitting there. You know, how did that happen? Same thing, was pretty close. And all of a sudden, wham! That second one hits. They get it. He's screaming, the guy in the apartment, some other girl, and then the one's like, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? Why isn't the TV telling us what to do?
Exactly.
One is like, geez.
And you wait 17 minutes and they start telling you what to do, and
that's,
who did it.
yeah, that's people, that's crisis mode, I call it. Like you said, the military, you train in these high intense environments over and over and over again. So when the shit hits a fan,
smooth going.
You're doing it like you do anything else. You could tie your shoe in the dark, right? You don't need a light on. It's like, I can't tie my shoe in the dark. I've never done it. Yeah, you can. You've tied your shoe so many times, you could probably tie it in the dark. Okay, but anyway.
So we got a lot of people responding. You know, Colin Powell is cabal. Colin Powell is warmonger. He's deep state.
Donald Rumsfeld.
I feel... I was pretty young. I was in my teens when I voted, obviously the first time, and I was a Bush fan. I quickly, in the last, since 9/11, and doing all the research I do and reading and listening, I feel duped. I feel like both of those families were in bed together. You don't get that high up on the totem pole and not know that you're both evil. You know, and then I feel like the Obama family joined the cabal. I think we've been fooled, and this is why I really honestly believe in 20 to 50 years, Trump's going to go down as a Reagan-esque, a JFK, a FDR, a Lincoln, Washington. He'll go down as a great man, but it's going to take some time because of the media situation, but holy cow, do I feel duped.
Look at McCain. He didn't vote on they all sat there, the Republicans, for that health thing, and it was like, anybody have any qualms? As he sat there like, no. We're like, so we're all going to vote?
Well, because he was...
Then when it got out there, it was like, no.
Right.
Lied to the whole party and then switched. I
don't
know.
People in Arizona were duped too. Here he was nobody wants to vote against a veteran, especially a war hero, especially a POW that was put up in a 5-star hotel and really never beaten, or he was treated pretty good. All he had to do was give up a bunch of information, and he knew a bunch of information because of who his daddy was and what role he actually played in the military. So I don't know. I think I almost swore again. I think bad people come together and decided we run this show, and I think Republican and Democrat alike, this is what I gather since 9/11, are all in it together. It's obvious. I'm a grown man now. It can't just be Democrats are evil or Republicans are evil. They're all evil. Not all of them, but those that are in the cabal. Yeah. I'm not saying Bush is scared the hell out of me too. Especially old Barbara. Ooh, you do some reading on Barbara. She ran that house like with an iron fist. And seriously, you look at some of the elections we've had. You had Al Gore, against not gonna do it. George W. That's the best both parties had. Well, they keep putting stupid people in positions so they can try to control them, And then this new guy, Obama, out of nowhere, wins easily over a sitting Senator McCain and a woman vice president. Well, all these women and Democrats want a woman in office, But she wasn't good enough. But this guy came out of nowhere, Obama, and so he could be controlled by the cabal. And then this idiot that's running now, Biden, he's part of the cabal. Hillary Clinton, part of the cabal. And isn't it awesome that a guy like Trump just won? It just seems like Republican and Democrat, both going all the way back to Bush, have all been in it together. And it's just mind-blowing. It really is. And this is why he's hated from all sides. So when you start seeing, they're showing their colors when Colin Powell and the frickin' governor from Ohio, Jersic or whatever his name is, that he ran for president and got his ass whooped off stage by Trump. You start seeing these guys start talking against Trump and going against their party. It's because really they're in it together and they don't really give a shit about Trump or the country. They got to keep that cabal tight because they see it come on apart, and it's just it's sickening.
What we're about there. We're at the mark. We're gonna look at some comments. What do you want to tell the people about our show that we were talking about doing weekly? What day do you want to expect it? And I'm trying to figure out, when you come here, do we go live? We love the live, or do we record it and then I put it out later that evening? I don't know if an evening live show is better. I mean, we got 320 in the room now. Started off really slow, but nobody got alerts, so we're probably getting messed with again. I don't know how to combat that.
Well, here's what I like. I like live because if it's stale or I catch myself or Mike catches himself in a bad spot, and it happens. We're not educated speakers. We didn't go to Harvard anyway.
We don't have scripts and teleprompter.
So you'll notice as you follow along, if I get stuck or Mike gets stuck, we'll take a quick glance at the monitor over there and see somebody's statement or question, and boom, we can get the ball rolling again. We're both pretty good at jumping like that. So I'm going to say I like Mondays, mid-morning, 11 o'clock for me, Eastern time. That allows me to get my week started as a little business fella. Middle of the week sucks. End of the week sucks. But I like Mondays. I would commit to Mondays. I would say we go live. You do the best you can live, and then you just post it later anyway, right?
Let's do it. So we're looking at Mondays at around 11 every week, folks. All right, that's me and Scott. We're going to do a show every Monday for you. Still see the early morning shows, possibly me and Woodman on other days, so you guys will still get like early mornings. Then there's a Monday midday, and I'm still looking to dial something in for evening. I might be doing my own thing, just like I did last night on Wednesdays at 7. Who knows?
I'm going to set my studio up if I find a place for it. So Mike and I recommitted. I recommitted. No matter how busy I get anymore, this was a dream of ours, and
we saw it.
There's 225,000 followers. I'm overwhelmed. We got to get back to why we started and what makes us tick, and that's him and I.
See, look, Wildly Scott Gaming. Like, you would never know. Wildly Scott. Hey, Mike and Scott, it's Natalie from KY. Loved meeting you both. So there's, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
right on. Yeah.
Well,
so
we miss you.
I'm recommitted, and hopefully we can get this back on the track that we intentionally started. Not to say anything's wrong with it, but there's too much time in between me getting my butt over here and sitting with you. This is what I live for. Without.
It's going to be super huge this year. We're looking forward to meeting you all again at the Patriot Fest. I know that's what some of you are just that came are just going to talk about it forever. It's going to be way bigger. We're going down to do some planning now. Let's do a couple of you guys sound off where you're checking in from. Look for me and Scott show every Monday, and we're going to go from there. And I'm going to be doing something in the evenings because I want to make sure we get a
overlap.
Yep, we want to get the evening crew, and if I'm figuring if we're doing a Monday noonish or 11, and then I'm doing a Wednesday evening, that's covering, and we're going to have just really making sure all of our subscribers are up to par with everything. All right, let me bring this up on the screen.
See who's shouting out from where.
Oops. All right, there we go.
YouTube can't fix live. We're not in charge of YouTube. Sorry. Hello, D. Hello from Louisiana. Ooh, there you go. That's more readable. Oops, Motivation Monday. You're damn right. I love getting the week started this way, except it's Wednesday, but Mondays will be good.
Alabama, Wisconsin, Kentucky,
Oregon.
Jeez.
Wisconsin, Missouri.
Biden speaks. No one listens to EF Hunting. You are safe. I wish I could have came to Patriot Fest. He says in a long way. We had people from Texas.
Yeah, man. If you all start talking a little more, you could have hitched a ride.
Yep, Patriot.
South Florida Trumpster, Patrick Randall Flack.
South Kakalaki, South Florida, Texas,
Colorado.
Texas.
Colorado River, Arizona. Way to
Ooh.
throw a curveball there, Deborah. I thought you were from Colorado.
Texas. Racine. I lived in Kenosha off of Washington Street.
Tina Baldwin, Indiana, Oklahoma, Indiana. We're at Indiana.
Patriot Fest is wonderful, but it's over now. Could you cover more news, please?
Well, we tried to.
No.
No. Sorry. You don't always get what you
Yeah,
want.
you can't always get what you want, but you're going to get what you need at the Patriot Fest.
That's
coming
right.
up in 2021, by the way. Did I mention that?
There's John Hook from Elkhart, Montana.
We're always going to talk about the Patriot Fest every single episode.
Let me tell you a little something about Mike if you don't know him already. He's excited. I was excited. It was an excitable event. It'll take a couple of weeks for it to calm down, but we're going to make sure we're at it all year. But if you were there, you would still be somewhat excited. And again, it's just that real new feeling. And
Well, I saw a comment.
And get over it. All right, just get over it.
Just get over it, man.
God.
Well, John Hook said, it was funny, it was a random comment yesterday. Everyone's typing in, Ohio, I'm sorry. Just keep it up there. Somebody commented, what? Patriot Fest? I knew nothing about it. How did I not hear about this?
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I was getting ready to go comment. I click it, open up John Hook's, and he's like, well, he's only been pushing it for a year.
So you see, there's two sides to that. Can we quit talking about it? Well, if we quit talking about it, it'll be that one
shows
person.
up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway. Cynthia, we weren't really mocking you there, but
We were just
it's
using you as
just
an
new.
example.
It's a new feeling. I
We love you.
Yeah.
And
we finished the show. We did a pretty good show, I think, after Mike's 7.5 minutes of discussing
Fest.
what happened. For those that not everybody tunes in all the time. So, Ken Scott, Seattle, never heard of it. Oh, Ken Scott from Seattle. We already know your name is Ken because it says Kenneth Scott. Yeah, see, they're throwing me curveballs. Seattle.
Godspeed.
Kenneth, give me a real short, quick liner of what the hell's going on in your city.
Patriot Wingman, I'm coming next year. I hope so.
Godspeed. Yeah, no kidding.
I think our guy Bob with the harmonica.
Oh, little Gavin says hello. You tell little Gavin. Little Gavin is a little young man from Kentucky. His mom showed up.
Was it Kentucky or Tennessee or Texas?
No, it was the holler in Kentucky because she's right down the road from
That's
where
right.
my grandparents. Yeah,
Bacon rinds.
Yeah, the bacon bit looking things.
Bacon rinds.
They taste good as hell. But anyway, this little boy
Hello, Gavin.
jumped up on stage and was wanting to talk into the microphone and wanted to help any way he possibly could. So Gavin, shout out to you, little man.
What's up, buddy?
Little Patriot.
What's up, Gavin?
So anyway, hey, I'm gonna. We're probably getting
We're
the heck
done.
out of here, aren't we?
We're gonna head down to the Legion. If you guys stick with us, we might jump in for a quick live, just a couple minutes. I don't know. We'll see. I'll show you the empty field.
Yeah, she did confirm Kentucky. I remember it being Kentucky. But I'm going to close with this, because we're going to be real short and sweet. Get your kids in school. My wife is going through it. God bless her. She's trying to help our kids and other kids. Babe, big shout out to you. You're doing things. Not going to get any help from the government. Not going to get any money from the government. Didn't ask for any money from the government. But every time she tried to log in today, my kids and the other kids that she's taking on, out of the kindness of her heart, why some of you are out there taking freeloading money, this woman's out rearranging our one lower living room into a classroom, right? Couldn't get on the internet. So I called you, and you told me it doesn't look like it's yours. It looks like it's...
Yeah.
So she did. She went down to the local church about 1.5 miles down. She goes, it's not much better here. So now I understand that it's the school system. So the point is, take the masks off and get your kids into school. Walk them in there and force them to teach them. The school boards, the politicians work for us. Quit being scared in your houses, all listening to the government. Your kids need to be in school. Society needs to get back to normal as fast as possible. I didn't say go around licking doorknobs. Look after the elderly. But two parts to this. The best way to beat a virus or a bug is to get it and get it over with. Not advisable for sickly people or elderly people. I'm not saying go out and commit suicide, but get over it. And the other thing is time. Well, what if these government officials are going to tell us, well, it could be another year and a half before this bug is gone. You're telling me you're going to sit around for another year and a half? That'll be a total of almost 2.25 years that your kids get zero education or very little education, or your family life is screwed up, your finances are screwed up, your just everything is screwed up. This could go down as the worst 2 years of time in American history, and people are going to laugh later going, they were duped. You know, what do you want to be read about you 50 years from now? What do you want your grandchildren or great-grandchildren or even your children to read about later? Oh, my parents were stupid and they were afraid of everything, and the government, blah, blah, blah. The government can't do anything for you that you can't do yourself, but even better. So I challenge you, get together with your local communities, be the force, take your kid to school. What are they going to do, turn them down? I don't care if the doors are locked. Start protesting in front of schools. Let us in. Something like that. We can't keep just sitting around doing nothing. These people are out there protesting, destroying our cities. The least we could do is protest to get our kids back into school and get an education. You know, we are paying tax dollars for it, so we might as well get something out of it. And if we're not going to, give me all that damn money back so I can give it to my wife. Yeah. God bless her. So storm your schools and protest. Get them back peacefully.
We did it here. They were shutting ours down, and then they all showed up, and then they opened up 8 hours later. Said, we'll do it.
The power of the people and the power in numbers, man. Just
never underestimate.
Just start doing it. If you have the time, if you're home with your kids anyway, mom or dad or grandma, whoever it is, take advantage of the nice weather and go down to your public schools. And then people will keep coming, and then they're going to be like, well, shit, if we're going to just stand there and protest all day with no masks, like the other protesters are doing, we might as well get these kids into school and learn them something.
That's right. I always say never underestimate the power of a big room full of idiots, but never underestimate the power of patriots as well.
If you can protest with no mask, you can go to school with no mask, you can go to church with no mask. I'm over it, people.
God bless, and we'll see you guys back here later on.
Later.
Have a good evening. We're going to be live here in a little bit from the Legion just for a few minutes. Check it out, and we'll see you back. We're going to have a few of the guys with us.